Hello and welcome to the Best Football Show. I am Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL. You can download this app on Odyssey, the Best Football Show. Download it, like it, subscribe it. Let's get involved. You can find me all over social media on TikTok at Baldy NFL and X and Instagram and YouTube, the whole thing. So I'm out there. You can get your shirts at baldysbreakdowns.com. All that stuff is good. But I'm literally full of sweat. Just got back from the Eagles' final mini camp today, June 6th. So I was out there at the NovaCare Center, watched a pretty good 2-hour workout. Eagles got after it. A lot of things kind of popped. First thing I watched, honestly, was just the quarterbacks. Just looking at Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett and two white gloves out there just going through drills. And it's interesting because Kellen Moore is there along with Doug Nussmeier. And Doug and Kellen been coaching together since Dallas. They went to the Chargers together. They're in Philadelphia together. Doug's son is the starting quarterback at LSU. I think both these guys are good for these quarterbacks. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a good season. A couple of things why. One, I think you'll see a lot of quick sets, quick jet protections, get the ball out fast. I think we'll see a lot of pretty quick routes develop out of bunch formations, clusters, things like that. I think we'll see our share of, pre-snap motions, which was basically invisible a year ago. And I think you'll see a great deal of creativity in the offense. And I thought the second half of the season, there was very little creativity. One of the reasons why the Eagles finished 1-6 last year down the stretch. And I thought they were very predictable. And that's not just me. That's the opponents that were playing the Eagles. That was the Eagles players themselves telling me that we're far too predictable. So I think we'll see some of that change. Couple guys, though. I mean, obviously Saquon, like he got a good dose of work today. But they drafted two receivers in the 5th and the 6th round. One of them, Johnny Wilson out of Florida State, in the 6th round. Like he probably made the catch of the day in the final team period. And I was right on the sideline with the offensive line, talking to Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson, some guys. And Johnny Wilson came streaking by us, and he caught this ball like off the snow cone and took it to the house. And this is a big man. I mean, he's almost 6'7", weighs 235 pounds, and he's a receiver. And I was talking to Harold Carmichael because I looked at Harold and I'm like, kind of reminds you of you, Harold. And, Harold Carmichael is still the Eagles' all-time leading receiver after all these years. But, Harold's 6'7", and that's what he was back in the day, back in the 70s. And so you just don't know. Like, obviously, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they're set. Paris Campbell is coming here. Look, he could be their slot receiver. At one time, the Eagles had him on their board coming out of Ohio State, ranked very, very high. Things haven't worked out injury-wise in New York last year, bad quarterback situation. So, they've got guys, but it's just one of those things where everybody's head turns and they watch Johnny Wilson, go to the house with this, and you just go, that's a big man that can win on the outside, can win in the red zone. Just a guy to, tuck in the back of your brain, is a guy that, who knows, might get the opportunity. Then there's Anaya Smith, their 5th round pick. Like, this kid caught a ball in the back of the end zone in a red zone drill. It's one of those catches where he just catches your eye. He goes up to get it. He gets both feet down. The back judge is looking at his cleat mark to see if he got the feet in. I think Kenny Pickett threw the ball. Kenny Pickett went there to look at the markings. Anyways, all that stuff is going on. That's all good. They have a completely revamped defensive staff. There's Vic Fangio. There's Clint Hurt coaching the defensive line. I mean, you just go position by position. It's completely new staff. And so, you look at Jordan Davis going into his 3rd year. I mean, he said he's lost weight, noticeably lost weight. He says he's 350, which if he is, and he might very well be 350, it's the lightest I've seen him in 3 years, if that's true. But just looking at him, just eyeballing him, like he looks like he's in good shape. Now, that's been a factor. Conditioning for Jordan has been an issue. If Jordan was on this podcast with me right now, He might bristle at that, but he's had a hard time staying on the field. So I think the lighter he plays, the more effective he can be. They need him to be good. They need him, and they're not deep at defensive tackle. Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, okay, Marlon Tui Pelotu. Like, okay, they've got a rotation in there, some inexperience, but those guys got to step up. They need a good defense tackle rotation. I spent a lot of time watching Jeff Stoutland coach the offensive line, a series of different drills. Like I said, they've now instituted for the first time, maybe since Chip Kelly. I might have this wrong, but I don't think I do. Like, they actually have a real quick set in the protections. I mean, everything was a deep set. You watch Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson set, they deep set every single play. Now with a short set, with a quick set, a quick jet protection, they can short set. They can use violent hands. They can change up. I think those are good things. But just watching, I spent a lot of time watching Mekhi Becton, and anybody that follows me knows that I'm a fan of the big ticket. I nicknamed him Highway 77 his rookie year in New York. Like, he's a big man that moves people. And look, he's had injuries. He's had issues. Okay, he's missed a lot of time. But there's no denying his talent, and there's no denying his power. Like, this is a business, and this is a sport where big men have to move big people. It's just, I don't care what position you play. You play guard, you got to move 340, 350-pound defensive tackles. You're a defensive end, you got to move 330-pound offensive tackles. Like, you got to push big people. Mekhi Becton is a big man that has big power. So I asked him, hey, right guard job, maybe Tyler Steen, second-year player out of Alabama, maybe it's his job. Maybe it's his job to lose. I don't know. Jeff Stoutland, he's got his system of how he evaluates these guys. Nobody can argue. He's developed as many offensive linemen in this league over the last 12 years as anybody in this whole business. There's a couple guys that you would put up there, Bill Callahan, a couple guys, but not many. But I asked Mekhi if he could play guard. He goes, I could play guard. Now, look, he'd like to play left tackle. That's Jordan Mailata's position. I don't know where he's going to line up, but I can see Mekhi Becton competing at guard for this offensive line. And if he would win that job, if he could stay healthy and he could, learn a new position, because I've never seen him play guard, although he took sets there today and he worked at it today. If Mekhi Becton at 370 pounds went to guard, this offensive line would be all world. Cam Jurgens, Lane Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. I mean, it could be unbelievable. And I say that because, let's get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands. Let's do some pre-snap motion. Let's keep people off guard. Let's run some cluster and bunch formations, and you're a man for, man coverage. Maybe you get, quick guys getting open quickly. That's why you run those formations and those man beaters. All those things. Saquon Barkley could be the biggest benefactor. I mean, if Mekhi gets in there, wouldn't that be funny? I mean, ironic, I guess, if Mekhi ends up, and I'm not pushing Tyler Steen or this kid Kennard, who they like a lot. I'm not predicting anything at this point. It's just a one-day observation. But would it be interesting if a former first-round pick of the Jets in Mekhi Becton and a high first-round pick in Saquon Barkley become stars down the turnpike for the Philadelphia Eagles? There's some irony in that, I think. Both players are looking for fresh starts and looking to make big names for themselves. And they're going to get that opportunity in Kellen Moore's offense. And so it was a good day. This is the Eagles' final practice, last mini camp. They're done. They're done until training camp. Remember, they've got the second game of the season Friday night. I guess it's September 9th, maybe, in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So they're going to get a big flight to start the season. But they're finished until they start preseason, where they'll have some scrimmages against some teams, that kind of thing. So players, coaches. In fact, they ended today's mini camp with the coaches, not the players. The coaches running gassers. Now, we weren't really privy to watching it. We could kind of just see it as the team kind of covered it up, but it was pretty interesting. I've never seen coaches running wind sprints before. And I can't tell you if Vic Fangio ran or didn't run, but I'll bet Nick was running. I'll bet Kellen Moore was running. So a lot of the guys running. So anyways, that's how that finished. I was at the Jets on Tuesday this week. It was a good day. Good day up at the Jets, watching Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson. I'll just say this. Watching Aaron Rodgers target Garrett Wilson, the ball doesn't hit the ground. Like, you just see greatness in Garrett Wilson. Now, he's been an elite player since he got in this league, playing with a lot of different quarterbacks, but he's never played yet really with Aaron Rodgers. So this could be really dynamic. That combination looks good, really good. They have two backs that they drafted. Breece Hall, when I was there, wasn't practicing. He's not injured. Probably just he was on the side doing his running and all that stuff. But it gave a chance to see two backs that they drafted. Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin, Isaiah Davis out of South Dakota State. Big backs. I mean, they look big. They're both over 225. They'll probably be between 225 and 235. Big backs. And what you saw, in just one practice, I'm going up again next week for a mini camp, but you saw both guys able to catch the ball. And really, at South Dakota State and Wisconsin, you didn't see that a lot. Maybe some screen passes, here and there. But you didn't see them running routes. And like, I saw Braylon Allen catch a ball down the field and, back shoulder fade catch in, contested catch and pluck it out of the air. And you go, it's not something I expected from Braylon Allen. I think both these guys have a chance, because the one thing I think that all Jet fans should really look forward to is if Aaron stays on the field and plays at his talent level and, week in, week out for any stretch of games or all 17, like, they're going to score points. They just are. I mean, Breece, Mike Williams when he gets back, Garrett, they've got pieces that are good. And if you give this defense a lead, like, they had 27 takeaways last year, and they never had the lead. And they went through all these quarterbacks, and they threw 11 touchdown passes through all the quarterbacks last year. 11 touchdown passes. I mean, it's hard to win games if you're not scoring points. If you give this defense the lead with Hassan Reddick and Quentin Williams and Jermaine Johnson and Solly Thomas and all the guys they have, Will McDonald, like, they're 8 deep on the defensive line. I mean, if they got the lead in the second half of games and, you're trying to play catch up, I mean, you're going to get takeaways. You're going to get forced fumbles. You're going to get tipped balls. You're going to get tipped interceptions. You're going to get interceptions. So if they get the lead and defense has a chance to finish it out, especially at MetLife Stadium with those fans in the fourth quarter, I don't care who they're playing. Like, that's going to be a dynamic scene. And then if you get that and you got to run the clock, you're up 7. There's 5 minutes to go in the game. You've got the ball. Like, you could see a case where, okay, let's get these 235-pound backs on the field. Let them ground and pound it the way Rex Ryan once did, deep into the AFC Championship games a couple of years in a row. You could see a formula where this could be the way the Jets finish games. And then I think the other takeaway for me was just watching Sauce, watching DJ Reed, watching, Carter, their nickelback. Like, you watch those 3 corners, like, they're on the field, like they had number 1 offense, number 1 defense, back and forth. And those guys are on the field all the time. They are a great set of corners. They just are. They're really a dynamic set of corners. Michael Carter in the slot, DJ on the right side, Sauce on the left side. Talk about Sauce traveling with receivers this year. Sometimes that's a good thing. If a team has a true number 1, there's different ways to do that. Sometimes you take your lead corner like Sauce and you put him on the number 2 receiver. And then you double the number 1 receiver. Like, that's a formula. Yes, if you're playing Buffalo and, I don't know, Keon Coleman becomes the number 1 receiver there, the rookie out of Florida State, maybe you put Sauce on him. That's a possibility. So they're playing around with that. Jeff Ulbrich, the defense coordinator, is playing around with different things. But it's good seeing those three guys out there. And literally, I mean, every snap. I mean, first of all, I think Sauce has been there every single day of the offseason. Like, he is a committed warrior. And I think he's not only has he been a great player thus far, but I think this is the year you're going to start seeing the interceptions. Like, I could see Sauce coming down this year with 4 or 5 interceptions. His ability to break on the ball, route combinations, reading routes, matchup zones, all those kind of things that he can do. And his length, I can see Sauce once again becoming a first-team All-Pro corner in this defense. So those are some of the things I came away with going to mini camps this week at the Jets and the Eagles. I'm heading to the Washington Commanders tomorrow. Really looking forward to spending time with Dan Quinn and seeing Cliff Kingsbury and watching Jaden Daniels and seeing all the new pieces there and the coaching that's going on. They have a OTA there down at Commanders Park tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And I should get to some mini camps next week. I should get definitely to the Giants, definitely to the Jets, and who knows, maybe Baltimore. I'm looking forward to getting out and seeing some football before everybody breaks for the offseason. So this has been the Best Football Show. I thank you a ton for watching and listening, for liking and subscribing. We'll have a lot of content next week as we kind of get ready to break things down, taking a little break, maybe, perhaps, depending on news and all that kind of stuff, before we get to training camp. So thanks for joining me. Look forward to talking to you next week.